Hey, thank you guys for joining today. This is the Nation of Motivation. It's a time of creation where, as a community, we come together and lift each other up to create the world we wish to inherit at birth. So we're all aiming towards the same goal of changing the world for the better. My name is Darian. Joined with me today, I have my two esteemed co-hosts, Bart Berkey and Kervin Simon. Kervin Simon will be joining us shortly.
All right, there you go. Sorry about that. Yeah, computer issues, but hey, go ahead and introduce and run it through. Sorry about that, guys. Let's go.
No problem. We're already started.
Nice.
So Kervin just joined us. He was having some computer issues. So thank you, Kervin, for joining us.
Thank you for hosting. Thank you for this is the introduction of the Nation of Motivation. Our moderator is you already introduced. I'm just going through.
Yeah, he already did.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Let's get it.
So again, we had some complications in the beginning, but I'm moderating for the day. I'm going to host and guide us on this discussion. Kervin and Bart Berkey, if you guys want to speak a little bit about yourselves some more, for those who don't know who you are, introduce yourself.
Bart, you can go first.
Oh, sure. Age over beauty and better beard, I guess. Yeah, greetings, everyone. My name is Bart Berkey. I'm the founder of a company called Most People Don't. Thrilled to be able to be joined with Darian and with Kervin. We are the new Nation of Motivation. This was an idea that just really came about recently. We had worked in some co-working space together, and we ran into each other a few weeks ago, and we said, you know what? People need to hear different perspectives on good things. So let's team up. So thrilled to be able to be here again. My name is Bart with Most People Don't.
That was amazing.
Perfect.
I don't know how I'm going to step up to that, but my name is Kervin Hart. I am a motivational coach and empowerment coach. I teach people how to value themselves and love themselves daily. I have a community on TikTok of over 5,000 people it's growing every day. And it's all about nurturing and growing. And just telling people that they are worthy is one thing. It gives them worth. But that's what I do daily. I empower people. And that's what we're doing together is a Nation of Motivation to help people get over the thoughts of not being worthy and seeing their worth in themselves. So with that being said, let's get to it from shadows to sunshine.
I like that. And again, I'm Darian. I'm an everyday empowerment person. I empower all my friends. Kervin, somebody that I'm always standing behind, hoping for the best for, who's always lifting me up as well. Bart as well. Me and Bart, we recently met each other about a year ago, as he had stated, at Goose Cup, and beautiful spot in Leesburg where a lot of people go and work on themselves. So we saw this as a great opportunity to bring some like minds together to assist you guys and hopefully build a community around one another. Not just us, but you guys as well, where you can have your input and, shape how we can positively impact the world together, all of us.
And Darian, the cool thing about this is that so first of all, congrats to both of you. And most recently, I know Kervin just touched upon it. He is accelerating at the speed of light on TikTok and his other social media channels. Every time I have a chance to scroll through, I'm seeing Kervin that is celebrating goodness and teaching people. So it's really cool. So this is not only being streamed live through LinkedIn, through YouTube, through Facebook, but then also through the other channels that Kervin is connected to and the other channels that Darian is connected to. So it's just really, really neat that people out there need good messages. And again, different perspective. We all come from different backgrounds and we look at things differently, yet the same. And that's what's really cool about this discussion. Sorry, Darian, I just want to put a little plug in there for how many people are watching this and will be watching this in the recorded session and live very, very soon.
Thank you. And I think you make a very good point. This is designed towards diversity, different opinions, different backgrounds, different voices, all getting together and sharing our stories, sharing what's helping us, figuring out how we can lift each other up from different aspects. And, everybody has a unique view, and maybe one point of view might stick with you even better than an original point of view that you've already had or hadn't considered, and that can strengthen your belief in whatever you're working towards. So I want to proceed forward with today's message and our goal for today within this conversation. Today, what we're really looking to speak with you guys about is rising above adversity. We received a lot of positive feedback in our last episode about mindfulness, and we felt that based off of the feedback, it would be most beneficial to get a conversation going where we start to share some stories, some moments where leading to now, just for ourselves, how we kind of got here. And again, with you guys, if you're actively going through something or you've went through something, like, share those stories. We want to hear them, and if there's any way we can help or any techniques we've used, maybe you'll find it beneficial for yourself. So to give you a little bit more about me and some of the challenges I face every day, I have PTSD, ADHD, and so every day, just from those two conditions alone, I'm faced with some challenges, and I've found knowledge to be very empowering towards working through both of those, because PTSD stems from trauma, and you can figure out how to get to the root of that and really heal your issues, and it may never fully go away, but you can understand how to deal with it better. And ADHD, your mind's basically just always searching for dopamine. So learning really how my mind's working helps me to develop techniques. And some of those techniques for me is meditation. If you guys ever heard of the story of Taekwon Duck, I think that's really one of the most powerful examples of the power of meditation, where basically during the Vietnam War, Taekwon Duck was an individual who was, amongst other Buddhist monks, was being targeted by the Vietnam government, and they were trying to get rid of Buddhism within Vietnam. So he showed just how powerful and real meditation is, since they were trying to disqualify it. And he meditated all the way to his death while being set on fire by jet fuel, and didn't make a face, didn't wince. This is a real story. You can look into it. It had a huge impact in the 1960s when people saw that this man could be lit on fire and meditate through it all the way to his death and not make a face, not react or anything. And that really stuck with me as the power of meditation. And Kervin, Bart, I don't know if you wanted to speak to this. I see you guys making faces.
Well, yeah, first of all, that's a shocking story, and I'm putting in some notes as we go along for our viewers. Can you spell that person's name, the gentleman's name?
Yes, I will spell it right now. Taekwon Duck. I'll put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah. Awesome.
And if you want me to spell it out loud for everybody, we'll also post it in the chat. But it's Thich, middle name Quang, Quang, last name Duck, Duc. Very powerful story, very real, and it's quite amazing, honestly, the way he trained his mind through meditation to be able to meditate through anything, and something as serious as being lit on fire all the way to your death. Like he literally died meditating.
Did I spell it right, Darian? Did I spell it right?
Yep, you and Kervin spelled it correctly.
Okay.
I can't.
Kervin,
I just copied and pasted.
Yeah, and so I
But
mean,
you did misspell meditation, but I'm not a stickler for that.
Well, no, we're talking about mediation right now, not meditation. The power of mediating. No, sorry. Do you know if that gentleman was using meditation like throughout his life, not just? I mean, sadly, at the end, was he the founder? I don't want to say founder of meditation, but what else do you know about him? And I can research it later too.
So, one, he was a very recognized person within this Buddhist community. He was almost like a forefather to most of these other monks within Vietnam. and he was pretty recognized throughout the world at this time as well. I don't know his full life background, but I do know that he's lifted people up for a long time, and he was very influential in his community for a long time. And he decided to give his life to really put an exclamation on what he stood for within his lifetime, which was, through Buddhism, you can experience, not just listen to stories and agree, but actually experience all the lessons that they provide within their Buddhist tradition. And meditation was one of those key techniques. And so he just wanted to show the complete power that meditation has. And a lot of his followers didn't want him to do it, but they understood at the end of the day what the purpose was, because they were killing their own people. Like, they're killing monks who were protesting. They're out there marching or protesting their government, and they're getting shot down. So he's like, if we're going to give our life, I'm going to give it in this way.
Got it. So he was using meditation to get from shadows to sunrise and sunshine, to overcome obstacles.
I have a story. I have a story to share. So
and Kervin, whenever you want me to share your the additional document, let me know. But
okay, you can pull it up when I talk about my story. But this is just mainly about the Nation of Motivation, because we are working together and we are all unstoppable. And self-care is empowering. And to help others, they must see. You have to care for yourself and understand yourself. So what Darian was saying, I actually have a story that relates to. It's from this show called Midnight Gospel. It was about a guy who was wrongfully convicted, and he knew that the only way out was through meditation. So he, instead of being imprisoned by the fact, I sent you this. So instead of being imprisoned by being the fact that he's in the prison, he started using his mind to escape the prison. And every day was joy, and he was in there for 20 years. 20 years. So it's telling you, you can use your mind to help you, lead away from the negative thoughts so you can move towards a brighter future, because it starts with your thoughts, your emotion, and how you feel. So when I used to be depressed and filled with anxiety, and I wouldn't go outside, I wouldn't lay in bed all day, I literally had to write in my book and say, hey, you know what? Today's the day where I get up and I go live life to the fullest. And I've been writing that every single day. And guess what I do? I get up and get out and live my life to the fullest as much as I can, because life is not guaranteed, and you need to start planning for it to be a guaranteed success.
And just to reemphasize, sorry, just real quick, just to reemphasize what Kervin said, that's really the emphasis of our message, is that if you want to positively change the world, it all starts with yourself. You can't change anything if you still have things within yourself that you need to change. You need to start inward so that what you bring outward is a proper reflection of who you are, what you want to be, and what you stand for. So if you can really perfect your mentality and things about yourself, that's just going to leak outwards to the world. And Bart, I saw you had something you wanted to say.
Well, I had a question for you. So I was just earlier this week, and I think I shared with you both, I was presenting to a hospitality company in Virginia Beach. Great conversation, some really engaged participants giving me new ideas, giving answers to things that I never even knew were answers to. Creative, out of the box thinking. Afterwards, and hopefully she and or her husband are on listening or will be listening, came up and said, I want my son to hear your message. And I was talking about doing what most people don't, the foundation of my message, and sharing different ideas about being a badger for self-development. And the B is for breathing. The A is for always being flexible and a reminder to be bamboo. The D is for do your best. The G is to give gratitude. The E is for everyday W's, which stands for something else. And then R is remember your why. Anyway, so I'm going through this, and she comes up, I really want my son to hear this, and I really want my husband to hear this. Virginia Beach is home to a lot of either active military personnel, There's military bases all throughout Virginia Beach. I think you both know that. And this gentleman sadly suffers from PTSD. So I know he is listening, or he will be listening, but that is just the power of Darian and Kervin, and hopefully me, right? Being vulnerable to say, I suffer from X and I'm doing Y, and it is helping. I will share, I guess, in a moment, my struggles with anxiety ever since I had an out-of-body experience as a young kid undergoing surgery. But before I get to that, Kervin and Darian, can you talk about, okay, so both of you military, Darian shared ADHD as well as PTSD. Kervin, do you suffer, if I may ask, from PTSD as well?
Brain injuries, multiple brain injuries. I have a lot of brain injuries throughout my time. So I know that my brain injuries are going to affect my brain. So I always write, that I'm healing from my trauma. I always remind myself that these injuries don't hinder me. And I always tell myself that, I'm healing.
Yeah.
The power of the mind is very powerful. I've seen people come into my chat and say, hey, I had stage 3, stage 4 cancer, and they told me I was going to die. And I started thinking that I was going to live, and I ended up living, and the cancer went away. So that tells you that your mind is powerful. Your mind is very powerful.
Yeah. So being able to say good thoughts and to be able to meditate and manifest and write things down, Kervin, that is helping you to heal from your traumatic brain injuries. Love hearing that, right? That's so important, and to be able to share. Darian, if you don't mind me asking you, from a PTSD perspective, what is helping you to manage that, I guess, is probably the simplest question. And I know you're leading the discussion, but I want to learn, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers want to learn.
So from a PTSD perspective, I think there's a few things that help me. One of them is a pre-mitigation factor, is that and I have a story I can speak to this that I'll talk more about in a little bit. But prior to having some very traumatic experiences, I was somebody that was often looked at in life as like never getting angry and always having like a peaceful persona. And I'd read that people who often get the worst PTSD, there are people whose PTSD is usually less from the same experience, are people who have their own like inner peace and have their own coping mechanisms for life. So I think for me, one thing that helped a lot during the moment was comedy. Like I found the funny side of all of it. Some things just so ridiculous. Like I just look off, like I'm looking at the camera, like this is crazy, right? So it's just things like that in the moment that helped a lot to not really let some of the trauma like sit in. But even now today, I still have some things PTSD wise that affect me, like almost getting hit by rockets or blown up or shot at, or seeing people get unfortunately killed. So I think what helps me a lot, one, meditation. Two, I find things within nature that just give me fulfillment. Like we have this WNOD trail here in Virginia. Anytime it's nice out, I bike on it, and it's like I'm driving through heaven. Literally, that's what it feels like to me. And then some more everyday things that I can just do that I try to do every day is I try to work out, and I try to do it early enough to watch the sunrise, because there's something really special about if you beat the sun in the morning and then you also get to see it rise. It's like a magical moment. And then I couple that with music at the same time, or motivation, and something I love to do, which is play basketball. So I just early in the morning do things that I love, that set me up for success for the day. And also currently I'm prescribed Vyvanse for my ADHD. So
because I mean, sadly, what you both experienced, right, in war, in being in the military, was horrific stuff. People shooting at you, things being blown up, people sadly being blown up, all of those horrible things. And then just to come back and think that you're going to forget about that. It's, I'm sure next to impossible to be able to forget about, right? And I'm just talking about, right? I had a little out of body experience again when I was 12 or 13 years old, and that affected me to this day, right? It continues to affect me. So I cannot imagine what you both have seen to be able to be so positive and so focused on healing. And that's why, I adore you both. For anyone that's interested, we just promoted the podcast out on social media where I interviewed Kervin and Darian just to get a little bit more understanding of their background. So it's go to mostpeopledon't.com and go under podcast or search Most People Don't Podcast, because it's a fascinating story how you two met, what you went through, and then to be connected still to do good things. You're not giving up, you're supporting each other, and now through these discussions you're supporting so many more people. So I just grateful that you both are vulnerable and that you both are caring.
Yeah, thank you guys for opening yourselves and your time to talk about this and empower. So if you don't mind displaying, because today is Fanfare Friday, I give every day a powerful word, because the word that you lead the day with is how you carry yourself. And I always say self-care is empowering, because the more you care about yourself, the more you empower yourself. So I send out daily emails to remind people that you're powerful and you should be your number one fan. Because if you love yourself, you'll take care of yourself, and you'll see that the more you love yourself, the more your life will change. Because when you start to care about what you do for your life, you start doing things for a positive result and not a negative. I've been teaching people about changing things from negatives to positives. So it's like, hey, something bad happened to me today. Do I have to let that rule me? No, you don't. You need to learn how to flip it from a negative to a positive. So I moved into a new apartment, and some odd reason, somebody stole one of my chairs. I said, hey, they needed it more than me, and it's okay. Another one's going to come my way. I let it go, because these are material things. When people steal, it's okay. You shouldn't feel bad, because they are the ones who did it. Why are you feeling bad?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And isn't it all
give other
about
people
perspective, right? Also, it's about perspective. And I saw someone post on social media yesterday, and it was this young gal that was talking about, I guess it's okay to say, young girl. Um, and she was talking about the whole attitude of get to versus have to. She said, I get to walk to the bus. She didn't have a car, something along those lines. I get to walk to the bus. I get to wash dirty dishes because I get to eat food. I get to wash my dishes with water because I have clean water. And it is those simple things that we need to remind ourselves of, that it is a blessing. We are fortunate. We should celebrate Fanfare Friday, right? For being who we are and being given and have accessible to the things. And so along those lines, I was joking around. I wrote a story not that long ago, and I said, I was traveling, I think, to the West Coast, and the story was, I get to sit in the middle seat because I get to talk to two new friends on the right and of the left of me. Not that I have to sit in the middle seat. It was the only seat that was left. I get to try to share the armrest with two other travelers. No, I get to talk to two new people because I'm positioned in the middle. Right. So isn't it all about perspective?
It is. It's
and
really
and
go ahead.
oh, sorry, Bart. One thing I just wanted to say off of exactly what you said of perspective and how you think about things. I'm reading these two books right now, one about the mind of a man and one about the mind of a woman. But one thing that I found interesting in both books that apply to both genders is, oftentimes we think our words have power, and that's very true. Where, even sound wise, if you had sand on a speaker and play different frequencies or sounds, the sand will move around based off of the sound and form patterns. But going back to the mind, they found with both men and women that your thoughts release almost like resonance, like a frequency within your brain, depending on whatever the thought is. and it reverberates throughout your whole brain. So, if it's not just what you say, but it's what you think. If you're having a certain kind of thoughts most of the day, or saying certain things to yourself, you're emitting a frequency to yourself. And
So
the
I
d-
like that.
the
Yeah.
level of positive or negative within that frequency of what you're saying can
Mhm.
have just a small impact that over time compounds and will lead to different directions.
I'll go after you, Bart. So my thing I tell people all the time is you're 80% water. So when you say something and it vibrates, that water is capturing that and you're feeling that. So self-talk, it has to be on point. If it's not on point, you're going to lead yourself to mold. I call this the mentality of gold or mold, meaning
Ooh.
the more you speak down upon yourself, the more moldy and you just get shriveled up and you're just like, I can't move. Some people don't realize that their self talk can literally immobilize them because they self defeat. I literally have a thing, a show. It's like two, one side's unstoppable mindset and one's, a self defeating one. If you look at your perspective on things, it's like, hey, if I say I can't do it, that's self defeat. If I say I can do it, it's an unstoppable mindset, and I'm going to keep going. So when your mind is set on something, you say, no matter what, I'm going to do it. That's the golden mentality. A moldy one is saying, hey, I can't do it. I'm going to blame everybody else. So if you guys want to show my empowerment mirror, I made this for myself, and I did this for myself for a year. I've empowered myself by writing words. I literally would show it in my later on. I show it on my TikTok all the time. I literally wrote paragraphs on my mirror. I used to struggle looking in the mirror because I couldn't embrace my perfections, my imperfections. I used to hate myself. So what I did, I wrote on the mirror things that made me want to look up and look in the mirror because it was all about me writing the story about myself and loving myself. So if you feel subconscious about yourself and you need love, start writing a story on your mirror.
That I don't have a fat face, that my cheeks aren't rosy, that I have a lot of hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but along those lines, Kervin, can I jump in and share?
Sure.
Because it resonates right so deeply with what we're talking about. I just saw a video, and I'm going to reference videos an awful lot because that's how I'm learning. There was a daughter that was interviewing her 92-year-old mother. And she said, "What's the secret?" And this mother said, 92 years old, she said, "I stay active. I don't think any differently now than when I was 40 or 50 or 60. Her mind is still very lucid. She walks, she exercises, she has friends, she gardens. She doesn't really spend time just sitting. She's not a lazy person." So compare
Stays
this
in motion.
92 years old, right? She knew what she wanted to do and how she wanted to feel. Now I'm gonna compare to my mother, 88 years old, is having trouble walking. She was never necessarily very fit in her life, but she was just visiting down over the weekend. And this is nothing bad. It's a little sad, but she said, I never really, she was complimenting us on our house. And we're very fortunate. We've been in our house for 25 years, and my wife does a phenomenal job of picking out things that last, and it's a great house. So she's complimenting our house. But then she said, I've never really liked my house. I never liked the layout. And she ends up saying this probably 4 or 5 times over the course of the weekend. I never really liked my house. I hate the kitchen. I never liked the layout, and just right, all these things. And, and it's hard to hear. I don't want my mom being sad. So I tried to switch it on her. I said, "Mom, is your house paid off?" "Yeah, but it's paid off." "Mom, do you have great neighbors?" "You know what? I have really, really good neighbors." "Mom, is it a good location close to other relatives?" "Yeah, it's good location close to relatives." And so honestly, and I didn't even realize I was doing this, by the end of the weekend staying with us, she did say, I never really liked our house, but right away, but I have good neighbors and it's paid off," for almost verbatim what I was saying to her and suggesting for her, right? It caught on. I never really liked my house, but it's paid off and we have great neighbors and it has a great location close to relatives, right? That's the thinking,
You changed
right?
her attitude to gratitude so quickly. So you saw how you did that for her. So
Yes.
I've been teaching people gratitude every morning. I tell them, hey, don't touch your phone. Start your day off with saying, hey, I'm thankful for the fact that I woke up. I'm thankful for the fact that I have a bed. I'm thankful that I have clean water, clothes, and all these things, the basic essentials.
Yeah.
Go down that list. It'll change your attitude completely. Like, I thought it was BS, but when I started doing it, I was like, yo, life is beautiful. I enjoy every moment because I know the second that just passed, I can't get it back. So
Yeah.
I need to just appreciate everything. And when you have gratitude, your attitude changes. When I'm teaching you, I've been teaching people just slowly just say, hey, you know what? Let me see how to change this negative into a positive. It's like you turning, well, I'm going to say spit into, gold or something like that. I'm not going to say the actual word.
All right. And so I have a question for both of you. Oh, sorry, Darian. Did you have a?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Bart, I was gonna let you wrap up the rest of this segment before I transitioned us to kind of telling stories and everything that will assist people. And I just wanted to continue facilitating the
Yeah. No,
experience.
awesome. Yeah. And so we're 30 minutes in. We know it again. It's being streamed now to thousands and thousands through all these different channels, which is really cool. And I like that it's just a natural conversation. We're talking about our experiences, our unique, diverse, specialized experiences, and I believe people can find lessons out of all of those things. The only thing last that I wanted to say was imagine that. The three of us, Darian, Kervin, the three of us, we had an opportunity of getting on stage at a global conference. They were going to fly us first class all the way over to Hawaii, and it was a global conference, and the title was going to be The New Nation of Motivation. And all of a sudden, son of a gun, I just got the email that they had to postpone the conference.
Still going.
They already paid us, right? They already paid us, but they had to postpone it, and they're not sure when they're going to reschedule. Kervin and Darian, what can you learn? The attitude of gratitude. What goodness could you take from a situation like that? I'm going to ask Darian first.
I mean, the first way that I would even view that is I would just be honored to be recognized for such a big opportunity. Like, I think the greatest thing anybody can ever give you in life is an opportunity. And it's what you make of that opportunity. And so, if the opportunity was being provided to me and it, unfortunately circumstances happen and it's no longer there, at least at this time, I'm just happy that I was considered. And that shows, keep going. Like, opportunities are coming. There's considerations. And really, I just have to be thankful that what I'm doing is having enough impact that other people can recognize it and look towards it.
Yeah.
And so, Kervin, I'll let you speak. I don't want to take
You're
over.
good. That was excellent. That was amazing. So, you mind pulling me up one more time? I have the poster that I want to share. So, to the left, we have the self-defeating. So, the self-defeating is when we get that bad news. You say, "Oh man, dang, why this all happen?" For me, the unstoppable mindset is like, "Yo, things happen for a reason." Guess what? I get more time to prepare and make sure that what I'm going to give these people is going to be worth their time, their money, and their effort. Because I see the more I prepare, the more I can give back because it's all energy. So it's like, hey, they asked us to come out and speak to them. So I want to make sure that I have enough time to prepare and give them the energy that I want to give to them. The unstoppable mindset, the unstoppable, meaning you cannot be stopped. Self-defeating is saying, hey, you know what? Somebody's making me do this. No, nobody's stopping you. You have everything you need. Stop defeating yourself.
And Kervin, there's one good point in there that you said that I just want to like really focus on too, is the way you view it. I have more time to prepare. I have more time to give, to ensure I'm giving more, not what's being given to me. I've lost this opportunity to be given something. But no, now that I'm aware of an opportunity to give and I know it's been postponed, pushed back, that means I have more time to make sure I'm giving even more. And
Exactly.
I really love that mindset.
That's like mind blowing. Just realize and think about the people that are listening right now. Maybe they didn't get the next job opportunity. Well, it's giving them an opportunity to prepare even more for the next opportunity. If they didn't get a contract, because we have many salespeople that are joining us, it's giving them an opportunity maybe for another group or another client that needs something even more immediately than they do. Right. So when you're being told no, it's not no, it's just not now, or it's
just like, hey, wait, prepare, because there's a bigger gift. It's like when you ask for something, delays happen.
Yes.
It's okay. You say, hey, you know what? Because of the delay, now I see something bigger is coming. It's like it's allowing your mind to say, hey, something bigger is coming and I need to prepare. When you start preparing for this, you paint the picture for this big event, this grand event to happen. So when you're defeating yourself, you're saying it's not happening. Come on now. You got to say it's already happened.
Yeah. Can I give a real life example? And then, Darian, I know we need to move on to the next topic and we'll conclude a couple moments after that. But is it okay to share one more story?
Oh, of course.
Okay, thanks. Hey, thanks. There was an event that was booked for April, and it was a company that I had met originally at a different presentation in California. So the cool thing was they loved the message. They're going to do this national convention. All of a sudden, I get this response: we need to postpone it. We need to postpone it probably until Q3 or Q4. Meanwhile, I started doing all the research. I started, moving forward with the interviews and the pre-survey, everything else. And I was certainly disappointed, but I still had a sense that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm doing this work already. I know what message I need to share with this particular group. It's going to happen. And sure enough, there was another little opportunity that was going to slide in there that didn't work out. And I just waited a few days and then I got the message, good news, we're back on. Let me send you the deposit. And it was right that simple. In my mind, I knew that it was going to work. I knew that they were going to have the meeting, and I'm already envisioning the reaction and what this group needs, and I'm ready to deliver it, even though it's not until April. So it's those things that really are interesting. And I think the more that we share those kinds of stories, people will get along the lines of understanding about the energy, about thinking good thoughts, about doing good things. It is going to come back to you. All right, Darian, back to you, my friend.
One thing I wanted to share that I was talking with Kervin about, that it's it's all about perspective. For those of you out there that play video games or watch like anime or anything, one thing that I've been doing recently that's really making life more exciting. And I'm writing a book on this currently, but I've identified a bunch of areas such as confidence, bravery, my level of happiness, gratitude. I got a whole list here, but anyway, I think of these areas as in areas to improve. Like, what's my intellect at, my creativity, my happiness, and if you can ask enough questions to yourself to gauge where you're at within these areas, you can give yourself a score. And maybe your score, if you maxed out all of your stats, is like 99, like 9,999, whatever. Like if you watch Dragon Ball Z, it's over 9,000, right? So if you identify all the areas, like right now we're talking about basic resiliency. When you're met with an obstacle, how quickly do you bounce back, and how strongly do you bounce back and see it for the positive that it is? You can keep yourself accountable and score yourself to see, like, okay, when things like this happens, like, this is how much quicker I get at it, or how much where I'm at, basically. So me and Kervin, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it's really something that I want to help make more organic for people, because if you could see yourself, if you could play a video game and max out all your stats, like, why not max all your stats out in life? Like, you're basically playing a game within a game by playing a video game. You could play real life.
Play it right and play with the unstoppable mindset. Because when you stop limiting your mind, you let your thoughts, break past the old thought patterns. So I've been trying to help people unwire their brains when it comes to thought patterns. Like I've been doing money mantras and telling people like, hey, if you want money to come in your life, you need to believe it. You need to say it because it's an energy. You feel like you're worthy of it. You say, hey, come here. It's going to come to you. Because I've literally seen money come to me randomly. I've had proof. This guy was in my live stream yesterday. He said he needed money. Randomly, $555 came to his account randomly. So I said, hey, use it for a purpose, like invest it, make your money work for you. And he said, okay, I'll do that. Because when you do smart
show that gratitude
moves,
too.
exactly, it's gratitude too. Like I literally just got $2 out of nowhere from some random person. I said, yo, I started thinking, I'm like, yeah, thank you. I was like, we're in the middle of a podcast. I'm like, thank you. Like, it doesn't make a difference, but what amount of money it is, just say, I'm grateful for it. And then you get the unstoppable mindset. Because self-defeat, you're like, man, it's only this amount. That one thing could change your whole life.
Yeah, Kervin, I don't know if I did it right, but I wanted to show my gratitude. I did a little subscription through you for TikTok. Again, I don't know if I did it right or not.
Yeah, you did. Thank you so much.
Granted, it's under $3, but it just know that's my support and appreciation for you.
Thank you. Yeah. None of it leaves TikTok. I always circulate that the money within TikTok, I circulate within the community because if you're giving me energy, I want to make sure you get it back. And I make sure I spread it amongst the people because why not return the energy that you give me? And it makes people feel better when they're saying, hey, I remember you. I donated you like $5 or 10, and then you just sent me back 100. Whoa, what? Like people feel amazing when they see it come back. I'm telling you, I literally have been doing it every single day.
And it's such a simple concept when you think about it. Like if you ever give somebody something, money, a gift or whatever, if you give them that and they show a high level of appreciation, like they really needed that, doesn't that feel good? And if you give somebody something and they're like, and they walk away, like you get no type of feedback, you feel pretty used, bad. Like, should I have even did that? So consider that when you're on the receiving end for anything.
And I just wrote a story this morning. Part of the newsletter that celebrated both of you was about I stayed at a hotel. Shout out to Coastal Hospitality in Virginia Beach. And I've been staying at luxury hotels all over the world. And not everyone is thoughtful enough, not in a good or a bad way. I don't expect anything. But this hotel delivered a little bag of chocolates, freshly pressed juice, and this little gratitude Buddha called Sid the Monk or something. Just the cutest little belly gentleman statue with a big smile on his face. And so the chocolates, and I joke about it. I said, it could have been from last Christmas. It doesn't matter. It could have been from Valentine's Day 3 years ago. It doesn't matter. But that just made me feel so special because it was thoughtful, right? And it was unexpected. And they totally surprised me and delighted me to the point where, yes, I wrote about it in my newsletter, just like I'm celebrating both of you, went out to over 10,000 people today, right? I want people to know about the Holiday Inn North Beach in Virginia Beach because their team in Coastal Hospitality is freaking amazing. All right, Darian, I know we're going to switch gears here for the last couple of moments. Good.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead. We'll switch gears here. I'll start it off. Basically, what we're going to be getting into is we're going to share some stories about times where we had to rise above adversity. Particularly for me, I'm going to focus on a time for those who are tuning in that are veterans or military. I'm going to share some particular military moments. I know Bart and Kervin are going to have their own stories, so I'll get into it and talk a little bit about a time where, because we were talking earlier about PTSD, right? And how, gunfire or like very obvious traumatic things can cause trauma. But even within stressful situations, you don't have to, be getting shot at or have something very critical to cause trauma because if the environment itself is stressful, then everybody is increasing your stress as well, which is also causing you to have traumatic experiences within that. And I wanted to speak about a time I was in Afghanistan, and a lot of people that know me know this story. They don't think it's, sometimes people don't even think it's real, just how crazy it is. But I was in this is at my job. So imagine, you're at a job. I'm at a S6 shop, and we had some very toxic leadership within the military. I don't use that word lightly. This was probably the pinnacle of like toxic leadership, and the source was one particular NCO. And what had occurred was she was scapegoating every soldier, that came in. So first, there was one soldier. She got pretty much scapegoated, blamed for everything, and what that did was keep the focus off the NCO, the sergeant at the time. And so this soldier basically went homicidal, right? That's how she responded. She couldn't take it anymore. She went basically homicidal, threatened her life, and so they moved her. After that, it was another guy who got scapegoated, and so he was very smart, so he just figured out how to get out the military, the loopholes, without getting dishonorably discharged, and that's the route he went. Fast forward, when we went to Afghanistan, it was my turn. Well, there was one guy before me, and he didn't take it very well either. He started writing her name on bullets within the weapons that we had. And I kept trying to talk him out of it. I'm like, you don't have to do this. Like, shooting her is not going to fix your problems. It'll just add to it. And he ended up getting moved. And then now it was my turn. And I went from being seen as this high performer, stellar person to being seen as like somebody who's like less than dirt. And that can be very infuriating, because when you feel you're doing all the right stuff, but doesn't matter what you do, it starts to mess with you. Luckily for me, I've always been level-headed. And so how I kind of had to handle this situation is, initially she came in, and this is where it became obvious. There was a lot of toxic events, but she came in, ran towards me like, hey, the general on the hill, he needs your help now. You need to get up there and fix his issue. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. He has his own S6 team. Why does he need me? And he's like, no time to talk. You need to get up there now and help him. And I'm like, okay, this must be important if you can't even explain the situation. So I go to get my weapon, because you're not supposed to leave without it. And I'm trying to grab my weapon out the weapon rack, and it's stuck. So I'm like, so I got to take apart the whole rack, basically. She's like, there's no time. Just get up there now. And I'm like, okay, if there's no time to grab my weapon in a combat zone, this must be important. Like, cool. So I'm like, okay, let me just go. So I like leave out the door. As soon as I leave out the door, we have something called a CAC card. I leave out the door and I'm like, oh, I don't have my CAC, right? So I turn around, less than like 10 seconds, turn around, go back in, and she's typing on my computer. And I'm like, hey, can I get my CAC? I think I left it in there. And she's like, you left it unsecured. We'll deal with this when you come back. Just go. And I'm like, okay. Get to the hill, talk to the general, talk to the soldiers. Nothing's going on. They're like looking at me crazy, like, there's no problem here. I'm like, that's weird, because I just had a very bunch of strange encounters with my NCO that made it seem like it was very important. Didn't even have time to get my CAC or weapon. He's like, no. I'm like, did you guys have a problem? He's like, I mean, we had a problem maybe, a couple hours ago, but that's past. And I'm like, okay, something's off. So when I go back, she had sent a message to herself saying, I left my CAC unsecured, and to my supervisor, left my CAC unsecured, please counsel me. So it's like a negative performance review type of thing. So at that point, I was like, so she kept having a reason not to promote me. She didn't have one, and my promotion talk is tomorrow. So she kind of like,
made one up.
So the way I handle this situation is, instead of reacting like very viciously, I did talk to her, and she wasn't receptive. So I just went and and again, I'm not saying this is what you should do in this situation, but every day she went to the bathroom, she left her CAC and her secure token unsecured. So I sent myself an email, unsecured, left it unsecured, and then deleted it out of her inbox and just kept like a running tab. And eventually, after like a month of her doing it every day, um, I had brought it up to I had had enough at one point and went to behavioral health, talked to them like, hey, I'm getting anger issues because this is what's happening. And my therapist got so upset, more upset than me, that I didn't even have any. I was like, felt like I just had a massage. I'm like, wow, this is a great guy. And he's like, this is what I came here for, to get rid of toxic leadership like this. So at the end of it all, there's a lot more to the story, but at the end of it all, I just took like the intelligent route of gathering evidence. Everything that she said that I was doing wrong, she was doing pretty much all of it even worse. Like, I had to come in 15 minutes early, she came in 30 minutes late. And I'm like, that's weird. No, I had to come in 30 minutes early, she was coming in an hour late. I was already coming in 15, but that wasn't good enough. Those things like that, I just kept a tab, handled it organically, and when the time came, I had all the evidence to back me up. And what ended up happening was she basically got fired from the military. Nobody even knew this was possible. I didn't know someone could get fired from the military, because everybody always wants to figure out at some point how to get out the military, because it's very stressful. But then you learn to adapt. And at the end of it, when she had gotten fired and the rest of the shop got reviewed, it really changed the whole dynamic of everything. And it really taught me a lot on like personal strength, my courage, and like I could have reacted in the same way as the previous soldiers, gone homicidal, or start writing names on bullets, or like run. But I was like, she's just going to keep doing this to everybody. So I need to like figure out a way to make her answer to what this pain she's causing everybody.
Mm-hmm. You know what I call the reap what you sow. So you reversed it on her. It's just like, hey, what you sowed out in the world was fed back into you. So the same way she fed those people into that negative energy, it came back to her. So it's like, people don't realize it. Go ahead, brother.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, and it's pretty surprising like how that event really shaped my career, to where like she was stifling my career for a long enough time where I couldn't advance. And then after that occurred, there was almost like a novelty, like fearful legend around like what I could do, where it wasn't me particularly, but people were at that point now coming to me with their issues, and I'm helping them be like, if this is how you should handle it. And then their NCOs know they're talking to me, so now they're like, more on edge, like, okay, this is somebody who knows what they're talking about. He knows the regulation.
You were a soldier lawyer, the soldier, like the local soldier lawyer. It's like, hey, if your leader is acting up, talk to me. I'll help you, unwire and break down this thing. So I used to have that same issue with my soldiers. I know we were running out of time, but I'm guessing we were gonna wrap it up because we were running. It was supposed to be 40, but it's going on 50. So let's wrap this up before we give everybody else a 2-hour empowerment.
Yeah, and I also wanted just to compliment Darian for sharing that story, because you used emotional intelligence in a good way. You did not necessarily become unemotional, but you were very poised and steadfast and strategic in your approach to be able to handle a very emotional situation. That is so important and so well accomplished. Like, I'm so proud that you handled that. And no surprise, you were helping others and setting an example. You were talking to other people, you were setting examples, and you helped other people not become upset, homicidal, leave, dishonorable discharge. You were helping people. And let's remember what your job was, right? For both of you, your job was to protect the country and to protect American citizens. So thank you for standing up and doing that. Just tremendous. And I think next time I just sent a note, right? I don't need to share any additional stories because I think that was so extremely powerful. We can think about the continued topics of what we want to be able to discuss. So back to both of you. Again, just proud to be able to share ideas with you. Know this is going out to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Thank you. Thank you both. And thank you for the people that are listening that want to learn.
Yeah. And you know, if you guys want to hear more, I can share full story. That was a real short synopsis, but you can follow me on TikTok or at GoDarian or on YouTube at GoDarian_. It's actually a acronym, God, God, but I'm living through God stands for Gift of Darian. And so I write it as Go Darian to also celebrate myself and cheer myself on, but to also, you know, remind myself like to act in accordance of what I believe God would
want you to do and what you would be. I love that. Hey, you mind blowing me up real quick so I can end this out with some strong energy? I want to make sure that we all. So for us to stand tall, we must see that nobody is stopping us in this life. You must believe in yourself. You mind showing the slide real quick? I'm going to give you the unstoppable mindset, because you must stop self-defeating yourself and saying you're not worthy. You are worthy of everything in this life. And the more you say you are, the more you allow it into your life. So with that being said, I need you to close your eyes and say, hey, I can rise through anything. Nothing is stopping me. I can overcome everything. Everything I want in this life will come to me. The moment I put my thoughts and action behind it, it comes to me. It's easy. Easy. That's the unstoppable mindset. You can open your eyes because it's already happened. You're already there. We've already had victory. Now celebrate. Get excited. When you get excited, it pulls it in quicker because you're excited like a kid in the candy store. So thank you guys for sharing this moment of your time with us. And I want you to be excited to see, because this is just a new nation of motivation. You can do anything. Nobody's stopping you.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, everyone. Keep going.
Bart, you're on mute. Sorry.
Look forward to talking next week.
Yep.
Me too.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody.